Hey, good morning. This is the Big JB. I am here recording Morning Thunder at the top of the parking garage, and I don't know what the light quality is like. It keeps shifting on me, so I am trying to make it so that I don't look like I'm angelic with the glow around me. But it's been a little tough to get it just right this morning. It's very sunny, and I'm not exactly wearing a light shirt today, so I can feel it beating down on me. Plus, I've been sitting in the car talking with my father this morning, which was really good. We had a really good conversation. I want to talk about something a little bit serious today. So let me just launch into it. So a while ago, I did some videos on the Oatmeal. It's a website, theoatmeal.com. He does some pretty funny comics on there that I like. I know that he uses some strong language sometimes, but in general, I feel like his sense of humor is really funny. Unfortunately, on Monday, he posted something called "How to Suck at Your Religion," and effectively tried to dissect Christianity. There was no parallel, except I think there was one Muslim reference in there. But the rest of it was all clearly directed at Christianity and seemed like Catholicism in particular. And I'm not Catholic, but I know a lot of people feel kind of hostile toward the Catholic Church. And I can understand that in some regards, and in other regards, I think that that's ridiculous. So, honestly, I found the comic pretty offensive. And I think most people would understand that I would find it offensive. And I think that people who are rational, even if they aren't Christian, would look at that comic and go, wow, this is really beyond the pale. So, and I wasn't going to say anything, and I wasn't going to acknowledge it just because I didn't want to draw any attention to it. But there was somebody who, I follow the Oatmeal on Twitter because I really wanted to find out what was happening with this lawsuit that somebody was bringing against him, which was obviously completely ridiculous, and I was totally in support of that. But I certainly have to rethink my support of that comic. I mean, the situation I would have been against to begin with because it was completely unfair. But in terms of how fondly I think of the Oatmeal, and I'm squinting. I'm not. If I look really angry or whatever, it's mostly because I'm just squinting because it's really bright out. I don't know that I'm interested in really reading his comics or continuing to visit his stuff after that comic. So he retweeted a comment that he got from somebody about feeling like his comic was unfair, and it wasn't a good representation of people of faith. And I wrote back to her and I told her how great it was that I thought that she stood up for what she believed in, and that I agreed with her. And she said that she maybe received 7 or 8 positive responses, but that her Twitter was effectively flooded with people who are getting on her case. I don't think that was the Oatmeal's intention, although it's hard to tell because sometimes he's kind of a douche. So I'm not sure what his intention was in that. But I was pretty appalled at the fact that there was such a negative outpouring. This is a guy who basically took up a campaign, an anti-douchebaggery campaign against this guy who did the lawsuit, and then his viewers and readers basically ripped this poor gal apart. I don't know if I hate to say lady because it makes her sound old. I don't know how old she is. So I'm going to post a link to this article that she posted. It's a brilliant article, very well written. I think it's listed on a site that's technically it's listed under Catholicism, but just in terms of a Christian perspective and somebody who I feel was very intelligent and very balanced in their assessment of the comic, really summed up everything that I would have said about the comic strip. And I think that it was very good that they said something about it and that they summarized and provided the commentary that they did, because I don't think I could have put it in words quite as well as they did, especially in the amount of time. I'm also not a regular typing blogger. It takes me a long time to put my thoughts down. I'm a good writer, but sometimes it takes me a while to kind of get all my thoughts in order. The one thing about the comic that bothered me the most, and if you follow the link in the comments, which I encourage you to do, rather than going to the Oatmeal to see the stuff, is to, because you'll get the commentary along with the images from the picture. The one thing that I had the hardest time with was his ripping on parents who basically teach their kids Christianity instead of saying, well, here's all these other faiths. The reality is that I don't think it's right to force your religion or your beliefs on anybody. However, your children are your children, and you're supposed to teach them the way that you want them to grow up and the things that you believe are correct. In that way, I think that spirituality is key and foremost in that. And that if you want to have an open attitude and allow your kids to discover stuff for themselves, then fine. If you decide that, you're an atheist and you're going to raise your kids to be an atheist, that's fine. But keep in mind that both standpoints are essentially enforcing what you believe on your children. There is no statute of limitations, if that's the correct phrase, on people being forceful about what they believe. Case in point, and I'm going to say this and be very clear about this, and I may get some nasty responses on this. I'll be very honest. I have a very serious problem with atheists because I think that they are I can't even say as intolerant. I think they're more intolerant and narrow-minded than religious people. Because, first of all, they have said that there is no God, there is no higher power, there is nothing beyond this life. I think that that's an incredibly arrogant statement to make, because that implies that they have experienced and seen and done everything in this world and in this universe that can or would explain the existence of a higher power. And I don't believe that any one of them could claim that. So I find that statement very arrogant. I am fine with people saying, yeah, I believe that there is something out there, but I'm just not sure that we've put our finger on it. I'm just not sure that we've defined it. And I'm okay with people saying that, because at least they're acknowledging the fact that there is something that's beyond ourselves. And I really do think that people who are, the funny thing about it is the people who are, I say that they're intolerant. I get accused of being intolerant all the time for my beliefs, by clearly people who are being irrational, because anybody who's watched this video blog knows a lot of my beliefs and knows how I feel about a lot of things. And I'm not intolerant. I believe that what I believe is right, but hey, so do you. So there may be things that I'm willing to look at. If I have doubts about something or someone presents a decent case, then certainly I would rethink things. But what I believe to be right is what I believe to be right, and that's fine. And I'm not going to force it on you. If we talk about it, if you and I were to sit down and have a conversation over coffee, we would have to get out of the way the fact that I think that what I believe is right. And if you believe something that's different than me, that's fine. We can disagree. We could talk about our perspectives, but it's not going to change anything at the end of the day. I feel that the people who get accused of being intolerant the most are from people who are really intolerant, because it appears to me that tolerance is pushed by those people, except when it comes to people who are Christian. We can be tolerant of everything else except the Christians. They're backwards, they're idiots, they're morons, they're of less intelligence, lower down on the evolutionary scale, and we're going to be tolerant of everything else, but Christians need to go away. And I find that completely unacceptable. I don't think there's any room for that. If you're going to be tolerant, you got to be tolerant of everybody. If you're going to push tolerance, you have to be tolerant of everybody. And I think that the people who push tolerance and are so hostile to Christianity, they really are illustrating the point that they themselves are intolerant. So I really feel that that article that I'm linking to is the best thing that can possibly provide commentary on this, because I can't do it justice. But I did have to weigh in on the whole parenting thing, because it's one of the big things one of the things that he said that I was really upset about. And then the whole intolerance thing that drove me crazy. So there it is. If you hated it, fine. Tell me. That's great. I welcome comments. I welcome challenges. I welcome questions. If you love it, you agree with me, great. That's awesome. And I certainly welcome that as well. So, video ran a little long today, but I got out what I felt like I needed to say. This has been the Big JB. Thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking the video. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Bye.